Welcome to For Mannerless Women. I'm your host, Adelle Onyango, and this is a space committed to nurturing a new generation of shame-free women. Now, this is a very special season. We're traveling across Africa and sitting with extraordinary women who are just like doing incredible work. They're challenging the norms, they're choosing themselves and redefining their womanhood for themselves, something that I want you to leave feeling inspired to do with every episode of For Mannerless Women. Last week, we started off in Ghana, and in this episode, we're heading to South Africa. I'm joined by Precious Nkadimeng. She's also known as Spoken Priestess. She's a DJ, creative, broadcaster, and a woman who has spent the last few years learning how to trust herself. Ooh, she's also a healer. This episode is for you if you're tired of second guessing yourself, if you're learning to trust your voice, if you're standing at crossroads, and if you're ready to stop asking everybody else what they think and start listening to yourself. First and foremost, Precious, who knew when we met in Dubai in 2022? that we would be here today. This is wonderful.
I certainly didn't knew, but I'm very happy that we're here today. This is amazing. Congratulations on everything, by the way, like watching you since knowing you to now, and everything you're doing with Legally Clueless is insane. Like, I'm mad inspired by your work.
Oh, thank you. And I just keep remembering for you who's listening, I was at the Dubai Expo and I met Precious and she was like, yeah, I'm a DJ. I'm DJing on this night. And I just think female DJs are so badass. And she did an incredible job. And she played exclusively African music. And I was just sold. So it's incredible to have you on here. So I think we can dive into our conversation, which I think is just going to be so yummy. We could start with something that you've mentioned to me before, which is kind of like the friction or the tug of war between who the world saw you as this incredible DJ, as this co-founder of, I'm going to try and pronounce it, man, Precious. I have been practicing Bedu.
You did it right. That's literally it. Like the G is silent. You of all people have done the best job of many. Like people are like Gebedu, Gabedu, like Jibudu, like so you actually said it right.
And you're the co-founder of that. You're doing this all these incredible things, but there's like a tension and a tug of war between who the world sees you as and who you truly are. And do you remember when that tension began?
I think since I'd say safely 2016, and I have that specific time card because that's when I started getting mostly into the entertainment industry in Joburg. So I'm from Pretoria, for context, right? So Pretoria is like another state. I know you guys have states and not cities, if I'm correct. So it's like another state. Let's say there's Nairobi. There's like one of the states that side and then one of the other states that side. So I'm from Pretoria. It's next door to Joburg. And Pretoria is more chill than Joburg. And so the entertainment industry between Pretoria and Joburg is very different. But in any case, for any creative and artist, we all have to kind of travel to Joburg to get our careers booming or blow up, because that's where all the systems are set up. It's all the events are there, the record labels are there, the radio stations are there. So it's almost like if you don't go to Joburg, you're not going to make it type of thing, which a lot of people have been working against, to say, let's be successful and plow into our regions and our cities and our neighborhoods from wherever we are. So I was practicing in Pretoria as a young broadcaster on radio, and then I moved to Joburg, and that's when I got closer to the industry and all the people that essentially I've been talking about on my radio shows and music, etc., etc. The confidence level is where the difference between what people see and who I am started. It's this inadequacy, this feeling of inferiority, also just self esteem. I had a lot of self esteem issues at that time. And I remember saying to myself, if I can just work hard, like all I have to do and all I have to offer the world is the work of my hands, nobody else will judge me for how I look or anything else. And I've kind of just always functioned like that. I've functioned like a worker first before a person, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, no matter what I look like, you will never be able to erase the work of my hands. But that's also kind of dangerous, because then you kind of leave yourself behind. You're like, yeah, you're a worker bee, but then who are you? And you're like, I mean, a hard worker? Yes, yes, yes. But beyond that, who are you? I mean, I've got great work ethic. And it's like, babes, you have to offer the world something more than just your work ethic, surely. So around those times is where this self personality finding it has always been, and I think it's always been an ongoing challenge. I don't want to call it a struggle, I don't want to own struggle or pain, but it's been an ongoing challenge to kind of secure myself and ground myself in who I am. It's getting better though. The older I get, I hate to say it, but like the older I get, it starts to become clearer, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and that tends to happen, and we've had conversations with different African women on the show where we talk about like the third floor, the fourth floor. One of my friends is in her 60s and she's like, wait for the sixth floor. Things
Oh my
become clearer.
goodness. That's amazing. You're telling me it gets more unlocked? I can't wait.
Do you feel like, especially navigating the entertainment world and the expectations it has for African women from how they look, how they dress, where they should be seen, where they shouldn't be seen? Do you find that, like, in trying to find who you are away from what you do, that it costs you things?
Luckily not. I don't know how I've managed to do it. I don't know if it's media training or the art of groundedness, I guess. So I have this very calculative nature where I plan a lot. I'm quite strategic. And I guess God's gift and the forces that have walked with me all these years, to me, in compensation for all the things I've been putting myself through, is to at least allow me to be successful based on my gifts. So no
Mhm.
matter what I did, are we allowed to swear here?
Yes, yes,
I
you
keep
can.
I,
Yes, you
I
can.
keep bleeping. I keep bleeping myself and trying to be politically correct. Like no matter how I fuck up and no matter how much shit I get myself into, I will always be successful and win based on honoring my gifts. So that has always been like my cheat code to life. So essentially, even though I'm like struggling and like, fighting with myself, and there were moments where I was very depressed. Like I've had depressive moments in my life. I've had depressive episodes. I once was diagnosed with major depressive disorder when I was younger. So I've gone through those kinds of dips and lows. But even while all of that is happening, the work has been concurrent. So it's almost like work has been the golden thread of my life. And sometimes the only rope that I have to life. It's like all I had to live for is work. And that's been my saving grace. So somehow, because of the work being consistent, I've never essentially lost myself or lost face, if I can put it that way. So it's giving you no look like your problems. It's giving no one knows what you're going through. And it's so true. You really don't know what people are going through. So I guess the consistency of my hard work and channeling all of my pain, all of that is like, I go put it under the bed for now. Let's get this job done. I put it in the cupboard for now. Let's get this job done. But like by the end of 1, 2, 3, 4 years, your house is full of things. And when you open cupboards, they start to fall on you. And
Mm.
now you have to face the music, like it's under the carpet, it's in the wardrobe, it's under the bed. Now you have to start dealing with it, my girl. So it's always been a private struggle, if I can put it that way. It's always been a private struggle. And I think it's also how we're taught as women, Guti. No matter what's going on, girl, keep it together, keep it together.
Yeah.
Show up, show face. And unfortunately for me, or fortunately, That's how I've always been able to show up. And I put quotation marks on that because I mean, how much are you showing up if you like have 50% on your bars versus actually being on 100? But yeah, I've always been able to show up because I'm able to just put it under the bed and under the carpet, and I'll deal with it when I get home, type of thing.
This morning, I literally just posted about how one of the ways to like honor your ancestors is to live an authentic life and not to downplay your strengths. Because in your lineage, you were the one who was chosen to carry certain gifts. And so hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh my God, so aligned. I'm wondering, like, when you put the things in the cupboard, under the bed, behind the telly, all of these things, what did unpacking all of those things look like for you?
A jump scare. You're like, oh, we're like, whoa, whoa, what's this? What's this? What's happening? A jump scare because it comes in bits and pieces. That's the thing. If you're avoidant, and I think a lot of us live like this, right? Especially this
Mm,
fast-paced world. There's a lot going on. We don't have time to sit with ourselves and deal with our problems. We're busy. We're trying to make money. We're trying to survive. There's a lot happening. If you don't give yourself the opportunity to sit with it, like, people that go to therapy and go to counseling and do all sorts of kind of really meditative, reflective work, then when you bump into yourself or your reflections, or somebody shows a mirror at you, it's a jump scare and you're not able to kind of cope with what you're dealing with. So it's been a lot of jump scares, and it got to a point where mirrors were shown to me, and it was saddening. Like, because of the work ethic that I've given myself and this hard work, you can't tell me anything. You can't touch my pen. You can't touch my grind. When you've built your entire life on how badass you are and you're shown your weaknesses, it feels insulting. It's like, oh, you're being mean. You're being mean to me. Why would you say something like that? But it's like, it's the truth. It's the truth. I'm not even fighting with you. I'm not insulting you. That's the truth. This is an Achilles heel. You are this way. There are certain things about your personality. There are certain things about yourself that are not badass. And that's
yeah.
the fact. Like, nobody's perfect. So that's definitely been something to grapple with as I grow older. Just kind of facing myself, but also being objective, right? Because we scrutinize ourselves so much that sometimes some of the things that we knock ourselves on are not real. So there's
Yeah.
like a very big difference. And maybe this is why we need therapy, because we need an external person to objectively say, no, now you're reaching, now you're being too harsh on yourself. That is true. Like, you need to be able to have somebody that can help you differentiate what is a lie that you've told yourself over the years, what is the actual truth that you're perhaps delusional about or you're in denial about, and what is something that you can be, kinder and more graceful to yourself about. So it's been all of those. It's been the jarring jump scare of, how dare you call me weak? I am the baddest bitch in the world. I'm a superwoman. You can't, I'm not like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and the, oh shit, maybe I am one, two, three, four, five. But like, how much of those five things are true, And then it's the sense checking and the lack of confidence. There was a point in my life where I couldn't make a decision without asking someone, just double checking that, am I crazy? And I started learning that that was some sort of self-doubt, like it was a form of lack of confidence. Why am I unable to make big life decisions or decisions without cross-checking with someone? Like, you have to put a pulse on what is real, what have you told yourself, and where are the genuine parts of work to be done. And that's ongoing. Where I am now, at the age of, I'm about to drop my age, people are gonna gasp. At the age of at the age of 34, I'm at a place where I'm sitting with it almost daily, even now, like most recently, like almost daily. So I'm trying to hear what I genuinely think and feel, what my mind is putting together, and not in a toxic way, not in an overthinking. You know what our brains are capable of doing, right? So I'm just genuinely having these conversations in my head, like, okay, this is that. Why did I do this? Why am I like this? and just ruminating on it. I'm even dreaming, which is making me so happy. Like I haven't dreamt in a long time.
Mhm.
Like I'm dreaming so vividly. I'm getting visuals from my ancestors. I'm getting visuals from the universe is piecing it together with me in my dream state. And that's also kind of really inspiring to know that, you know what, after all, we are capable and able to do it ourselves. Of course, we need help, but like we really are capable to kind of get to the bottom of it ourselves. It takes time, it takes a lot of time, but we have the capability to do it. So, in a very long winded way, that is my answer.
The thing is, like, you're speaking, and there's so many things I identify with. I too had that issue of like, before I did something, I would check in and get second opinions from people.
Yo, yo.
And it would even be like, oh, do you think I should post this? Is this too
It's
much?
very bad. It's so bad. Like I really, it hurts sometimes when I think about it. I'm like, as children, and I love children, right? I love observing them and their fearlessness. I mean, although their fearlessness is quite dangerous, but like this child will just run and like jump off a cliff without any fear. And I'm like, okay, that is amazing. At what point does that get dumbed down? The when we tell them, oh, you're too forward, oh, stop it,
Yeah,
you're making noise, oh, and it hurts my feelings because you go through your whole entire life trying to circle back to that fearlessness. What a waste of time. What a waste of
exactly.
time. You already had it, you were born with it. Why is it not protected, nurtured, guided, guarded? So that you don't have to circle back in your freaking 30s. Do you know how much time we've wasted, like with lack of confidence? How many ideas are sitting in graveyards because we didn't believe in ourselves? Like, oh, freaking hell, man. Like, and you can't have a do-over. It actually
Mhm.
pisses me off when I think about it. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm 34. I've achieved a lot and I'm grateful about that. And this is why for me the work is my saving grace for real. Like, if it wasn't for the work ethic and me deciding to put all of my life force into work, Adele, you wouldn't even know me. I promise you, like, I don't even know where I would be because
Mhm.
that is really all I had to offer life, right? But if I had a do over, girl, we were just having this conversation in Kenya. I would be in Nairobi. I would be flying over for interviews and doing all the shit that I really want to do with my life because I am capable. I have the capacity and I have the opportunities to do that. But the self-doubt, the should I not? Oh, what will people think? Oh, it was only 5 years ago that I managed to work a brand deal. Do I still got it today? Like,
I feel you because my thing is like getting to a point in therapy once. My therapist has this thing she takes you to, which is like, so losses without funerals. So you go through all the losses you've gone through in your life and you kind of comb through them, and it takes a while, and it's crying and it's harrowing work. And then at the tail end, you start to build your sense of self. And one of the questions that she asked was, what were you interested in when you were 7, 8, 9 years old? And the crazy thing that that question unearthed for me is that everything I was interested in then, I was interested in as, I think I was doing this when I was about 33. I was interested in as a 33-year-old. And so I said, just like you, what a waste of time, what a waste of money. Because had that not been, taken out of me when I was 7, 8, 9, I would have been so much more confident in who I am and my strengths throughout my 20s and into my 30s. So I completely agree with you on that. What I also find so interesting is like you're dreaming again. And in my culture, so I'm from a tribe in Kenya, we're called the Luo. For us, we believe dreams are the space through which our ancestors communicate to us messages, clarity, warnings, even. Babies' names are communicated through dreams, and I just think it's so poetic and so wonderful. I want to know first, before we get into something you've talked to me about, which is traditional spiritual initiation, what would you describe your spiritual life as?
That's a very powerful question. Also, I just want to say a quick shout out to your therapist. I wrote that exercise down. And I'm gonna try and figure it by myself because I feel like these are some of the things that keep us stuck,
Right?
and don't progress, and all the things that live inside us. The other day I was just thinking about how the ideas that we don't actualize are part of the trauma that gets stored in our body, but we'll unpack that in another time.
I love that. Now I'm gonna write that down.
I've been dreaming. I'm like, you know what? I know we store trauma there and we are what we consume, but I also think the ideas that don't leave our bodies cause us to
Yes.
be sick.
Yes.
Um, but anyways, actually, my spiritual life before and and now, automation.
Mm.
Before it was automation, a default setting too. Because a lot of us, especially as Africans, we're actually, let me speak for Africans. I'm not going to act like I know how other people live. I'm an African, and that's
Mhm.
my reference of life. So, a lot of us as Africans, we're born in a default setting. You're born into a Christian setting. Some are born into Muslim settings, depending on which region you're from. But like, essentially, you're born into a religion, if I can put it that way. So, I was raised Lutheran. We are Lutheran at home. And so that was just what life was. Spirituality was Christianity. That's what it was. It was going to church every Sunday, getting the uniform, the Sunday school, the graduation, the whole process, you know. And so there's a point in our lives where we got into what they call the newborn churches. When we moved to Pretoria, because I'm originally from Limpopo, which is like another province in the country, and then we moved to Pretoria, and essentially my whole life is in Pretoria, Joburg type of thing. And so we got into these newborn churches, the charismatic, they call them the charismatic churches.
Mm.
And, you know, it was the God show, the Christian showcase. It was always outshining the next Christian. How much, what level boss Christian are you? What level boss believer are you? And yo, Christianity is so intense sometimes. Like when I think about it, I'm like, yo, guys, the spectacle. What is happening? Are we in a competition? Like, don't we just all love God and stuff? Like, yo. So it was very automated, default setting, and quite. What I do love about that though is the idea of developing your own relationship with God. That's what
Mm.
I took out of Christianity, and I loved and enjoyed, because that meant that in your own time, on your own peril, you can go as deep or as low or as wide and explore what God means to you in your private time, in your Bible study, in your prayer time. So that I do love, and I thank my family for teaching me the spirit of prayer, because
Mm.
prayer is unique and it's personal, but it's also a religious, like you can pray even without being religious, I believe. So I think the spirit of prayer is mostly what I'm thankful for. I saw it in my mother, I see it in my grandmother, my aunt. And so as a byproduct of religion, prayer has become something that I have carried throughout my life, and even up till now, where whether I've gone to church for the past 6 months or 1 year, or I was at church yesterday and I'm going next week, it doesn't matter. There's no bonus points, and there's nobody keeping tabs of how many lives you have in this game left before you die and you have to start the game over. It's literally an ongoing conversation between you and God. And so now spirituality for me is no longer a default setting that I adopted because I was born into a Lutheran family. Spirituality is a choice. Now
Mm.
spirituality is a choice for me. I was like, we get to choose. We get to choose what we want to believe in. We get to decide what resonates with us, right? Like if you're reading a verse and you're like, that's dodgy, like you can decide for yourself whether this resonates for you or it doesn't. And I think that's also a painful exercise, because I don't know if there's any religion that's 100%, that 100% makes sense. It's like some things in religion are like, Mara, this belief is very dodgy. I don't agree with that. but I absolutely love this. So is it like, can you take a little bit of Muslim, a little bit of Christian, a little bit of traditionalism, a little bit of whatever, and put it together and create this mega religion? And it's also like, but why must it be a religion? Why don't you just believe in principles and morals and teachings that are for the good of us all? Like, drop the competition, drop the rule book, let's drop the structure for a bit and just think about humanity, right? Like, why don't we function from a place of what works best for the living and for the good of life force and the energetic force and all the good forces? Because I think that's what I hope. Let me not say I think. I would hope that's what religion is trying to achieve, some sort of good order in the world. And then you grow up and you realize that some religions are not good order, but I don't want to get into that gap. But it's like, no, no, no. Some of this stuff is not good order. Like, where is the goodness in some
Yeah.
of the practices that we swear by? And so now for me, I feel like spirituality is a choice and it's an assignment. It's an assignment. You have to get into it yourself. And don't misunderstand spirituality for reeling off the course of religion. It's not bound to religion, it's not bound to any book. Spirituality is literally the work of spirit, what you're feeling, what you know. Because even as we are human beings, no matter whether you're Christian, Muslim, traditionalist, and I only mention these three because that's what comes to mind. So if anybody feels offended by me not mentioning who they are, please feel free to drop it in the comments for us so we can also learn. But that's just my frame of reference. But no matter who you are, the work is personal. Like, I don't care. Like, we can all be sitting there in the front row waiting for salvation and the pastor to shana rababa the demons out of us. But like at the end of the day, like your experience is not the same as the one next to you. It's personal. It's a personal journey. Spirituality is very personal. So that's the assignment that we have for ourselves, to work on our spirit beliefs, to fasten it, to deepen it, to make it fit to our lives, or to find the direction that we're meant to be going for us. Because whatever God designed us, no matter where he sits, who he is, who she is, who they are, they designed us for a specific, unique purpose. We all have a barcode on us that's very, very specific to us. And, once that barcode is tagged, there's not going to be a duplicate product. So, whatever journey, religion, belief we have, it is our assignment to figure it out and follow that specific assignment for the barcode that we are.
The thing is, just listening to you, I'm reminded of someone once told me that spirituality, they defined it as a knowledge of self. And it was so intriguing to me because I'd never heard someone define it as that. And it actually even guided me. So to always go inside, when you're looking for spiritual grounding, it's to go inside first. I think a lot of us go outside trying to attach ourselves to things, to routines, to practices, but first is to go in, which I think is like echoed in what you're saying. It really is you first. It's internal work. There is something maybe you could explain, just in case the woman listening needs some cultural context. You have mentioned, and I believe you mentioned it to me when we first met in Dubai, about going through, I don't know if I'm capturing it right by calling it a traditional spiritual initiation.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way to encompass it. It is initiation, school, but it's the process. It's an initiation. You know the thing about English, it's such a malnourished language.
Yes. Oh my
So
God.
yeah,
Yes.
direct translation is very difficult, but for the purposes of understanding, it is initiation. It's like school. So it's like a school or like a passage. A rite of passage sounds very nice. It's like a rite of passage type of thing. But you're correct. Yes, traditional initiation. Yeah. That was at the height of my career, which is crazy. Like you say, it was that year specifically. It was 2022.
Yeah.
In fact, when I got the call to go to Dubai, I was at my Mkulu's place. Mkulu is Kulu is so the word Mkulu is quite diverse, but for the purposes of this exercise, it is an elder. It's a male elder mostly. So Mkulu elder, your guide, your guidance, your guide, your father, your spiritual guide with a male energy, so to say. So I was at my Mkulu's place and they were like, "Yo, there's this Dubai thing. I know you got a passport, so why I say?" I was like, "Let's do it." Um, and we just come out of COVID and we're back in festivals. Yeah, we're basically rebuilding, and I am spoken priestess. Also, can I just say this is the first time on any platform I've shown up as Precious. So I
Mm.
don't know what voodoo you used to make me not even correct you, but like I'm so comfortable being Precious right now because I've always been spoken princess. I actually think people don't know what my real name is. So you've just decoded me real bad on here, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It was during that time, it was a very confusing time. I'm not going to lie to you. And this is the most personal conversation I'm about to have about myself ever because I don't like to talk about my personal life
Mm.
ever. Like I said to you, right? Like I'm a mask. I'm a private person. I show up with my work, the work first. Like everything else doesn't matter. But I'm very grateful that you've given me this opportunity and platform to, at one point, even in my career, to speak my mind and my truth. And I guess that's the purpose of For Mannerless Women. Is like no man is here, no pretty, no pretty well brand
Yes.
strategically put together DJ is going to be, or we're going to be a person as you are.
Mm.
Um, it was a very confusing time because again, that thing of not knowing if you're making the right decision or not, like the most difficult decision of my life. And apparently it's supposed to be easy or obvious in the way that your people communicate. They're supposed to tell you, my sister, this is what we want. We're doing
Mm.
this now. This is the direction.
Mm.
But even the voices in me, I've doubted, right? So it's very difficult for somebody who struggles with self, somebody who has self-doubt, somebody who has, you know decision making anxiety, to know that even the voices that you're being guided by are not just lies. Do you get what I
Mm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, am I making this up? Am I hallucinating? Is this the right decision or should I be here? Type of thing. So that is what I really went through with that process and that decision to heed the call, to be like, okay, let me do what I need to do. What I do know though, and to my nature as a hard worker and a studious person, I've always said to my ancestors, even before I went through the process, was I will do whatever you need me to do. It's almost like
Mm.
I knew, right? I always knew. I remember I had a friend, a very close friend of mine. She was a healer too. So it was really, really great having her around. And I quite missed that because having her as a friend before I was, brought into the traditional or the spiritual practice world
Mm.
was dope, but I would love to have her now as somebody who's more awakened because I'm like, I want to understand deeper from somebody's perspective. Is what I'm going through right? There's still
Mm.
so much uncertainty that you wish you could ask someone, but it's almost like you must have the answers now because you are him. You are the healer now. So now we are looking to you. How do you not know? And I'm like, I'm just a girl.
I
I
just
just arrived.
arrived.
I just arrived. I just arrived. Fuck. So, um, so yeah, that it was a very mentally challenging time for me to know for sure. And I guess that's the fault of human nature, is us wanting to know for sure. Like we want to know, is this Mr. Right? We
Mm.
want to know if is this the right career path. We just want to know that we're doing the right thing. And it's like, there's somebody that very close to me that's taught me that, what is your obsession with right and wrong? There's no right and wrong. And that guy, he undid my entire life because my whole life is based on right and wrong. And that also comes from Christian teachings, where it's like,
That's it.
you do wrong, you are going to hell. You do right, you're going to heaven.
Yeah.
And so we work through life with this right and wrong concept. Like, okay, is this the right decision? Is this the wrong decision? And coming to understand that there is no right and wrong decision, there's lessons. There's consequences to every decision, correct? But the consequences are not to say you made a wrong decision. It's just how, it's also even scientific, right? If you put a force to this and that, there's an equal what force.
Yeah.
It's science. It's like whatever you move in the sphere of the universe has an impact.
Yeah.
You don't have to use the word consequences to show you that, but it's like it has an impact. So I really was like, is this the right or wrong decision? I don't want to make the wrong decision. But luckily for me, and anybody out there that's struggling with right and wrong decision, you can never make a wrong decision in anything that seeks to improve you and your life and the generational pathway of your life. What I mean by that is whatever decision you're trying to make that is insanely difficult, and you don't want to fuck it up, basically, because that's where that was coming. Like, yo, Adele, if I can tell you one thing about me, I never want to fuck up. That's one of my biggest, yeah, like I just never want to fuck up, right? I always want to get it right. I always want to do right. I always want things to be well. And that also seeps into a lot of parts of your life, people pleasing, how, burning out, just doing the most just for right. And so these are some of the things we need to unpack within ourselves as to how much are we willing to die for right, and what is this concept of right, and we need to rewrite it. So I really appreciate the lesson of saying there's no right and wrong. It's not an easy thing to digest, but learning that there's no right and wrong is actually a saving grace, and we need to unpack that a little bit. But what I meant earlier is, if you have to make a decision that is so difficult that you basically don't want to mess it up for yourself and for anybody else, or just get it wrong, just know that you can never make the wrong decision if that decision is going to bring goodness, if that decision is going to bring improvement, if that decision is essentially going to change the way you look at life for the better. It cannot be a wrong decision. Maybe it's just difficult and it hurts and it's tense, and human beings, we don't like anything that is hard. So we'd rather just shy away and stay in our comfort zones. And that's why we're not as successful as we should be, because we're like, it's too difficult. But if that decision seeks to propel you forward, especially if it seeks to heal the generations before you and after you, then it can't be a wrong decision. Yeah, that's where I was when I was at the height of my career. I was DJing, I was getting gigs, I was even getting bookings while I was undergoing my process of initiation. And that's something that I struggled with in terms of my profession, my career. I'm like, okay, if I'm going into the spiritual space, what does that change about me? What does that change about my life? Does it mean that I have to do things differently? Can I still DJ? Because that's what I want to do. I love DJing. Like, I spoke to my ancestors and I was like, guys, so does that mean that I need to stop DJ? Like, can I still DJ? Like, how does this work? Do I have to change as a person? Like, I really, really grappled. I really, really grappled with this, because I also don't have a reference in my family, right? We're all Christian. I don't have a reference of the healer journey. And whatever I've learned is through the world, it's through social media, through people, through my own instinct sometimes. And I've learned that my instinct was not always my instinct. I was actually being guided, which is cool. I also learned that some of the things that I am, the way that I am, the way that I do things, has always been because of my spirituality and who I'm destined to be. And I'm like, oh shit, that's so cool. So the reason why I'm like this is because of that. And they're like, yes, it's because of your path, and your path is kind of written in a way. It was very difficult because I'm also a loner by nature. You might find this like odd, because I'm on my Instagram, I'm colorful, I'm traveling, but I'm a loner. I like to be in my own thoughts. I like to spend time by myself. I do have friends and I have a very beautiful community, but I'm so private. Like I said, I lock myself in, and that's where all of these things that I've gone through, these challenges over the years, the personal issues, the self-esteem issues, the depression at some point, all of these things are happening because I'm in myself ruminating in this room, and it's just so much. I'm not opening the windows, I'm not opening a door for anybody, I'm not picking up the phone, so I am a loner. And so that journey was also really, really, it was like the hardest test I've ever had to write. Like, I was like, where's the book? When you get the book, it's 2,000 pages. I'm like, how am I going to cram in 2,000 pages in time for the test? This is very difficult. You have questions, but there's no lecturer to ask. Like, it's such a difficult thing. And also knowing that initiation is not where it ends. It's just the beginning. It's like an introduction. You are going to be initiated for the rest of your life. You're going to be figuring things out. You're going to be unpacking. You're going to be troubleshooting. It's a lifelong journey, really. And I
Mm.
think the initiation seeks to basically kind of put you onto the bandwidth. It's like, oh, let's onboard you onto this world. Let's teach you how to access the world of information that you have available to you as a result of heeding the call. But like you said, spirituality is personal. It really is knowledge of self. The deeper you get to know yourself, the deeper you get to know how you
Mm.
function, the deeper you get to know why you do things. Some of the answers lie in that. So yeah, it was challenging. It's been challenging, but I'm starting years later. It's what, 4 years later, I realized I was going through my archives, and I was like 2022. So that same year I did Dubai, I went to Kenya and Zanzibar. And I think I did another trip. And I'm just going through my archives, and I'm like, this same year where all these things were happening is the same year where my life changed. And I'm like, it's been 4 years. What have I done in the past 4 years? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I've been living, I've been figuring it out, I've been doing the
Mm.
assignments, I've been trying, I've been pursuing. So yeah, it's a lifelong journey. I feel so much better now. I really do feel so much better because I realized that, oh, don't panic, my baby man. Don't panic, man. There's no right or wrong answer. Just do
Mm.
right by the world, do right by you, and do the studious, right? In as far as is permissible and acceptable. Don't burn yourself, and don't overextend yourself just to keep other people's fires on. But like, do the studious, be a good person. And I think that's the crux of everything, whether it's religion, spirituality, work, dreaming, business.
And I just love hearing you speak about your journey, and it's interesting about perspective, because even if, when you say 4 years, in my head I think 4 years is a very short time, especially since what it sounds like to me is what was happening is a rebirth, and for a rebirth to happen there has to be unlearning, and these are the things you're unlearning, things that you held on to for decades. So it's going to take more than 4 years to kind of settle in, which is okay. Which is okay because, who's to say it's meant to take 5 years, 10, 2 days, you know what I mean? But you heeded the call. I believe, part of healing work, especially if your call is to be a healer, like your ancestral call is to be a healer. Part of that healing work is for you to heal yourself, however long that's going to take. And so I wonder, like, this journey. So you've mentioned confusion and you've mentioned that now you feel a bit more settled in. How do you think it has expanded you?
A little bit of surety, right? So, and confidence. There's a quiet confidence I have. So before I went into, I explored my spiritual antenna a bit more. I always thought that I was different. I always felt different, but it was from a place of feeling misplaced. And I guess that's where the lack of self-confidence and the not fitting in, and all these kind of personal emotional confidence issues and struggles. And I think that comes from not knowing yourself, like not knowing who you are, what you're meant to be, like not being aligned with your purpose. um say for example, if I had been exposed to what my ancestors want me to do or be, or just my spiritual timeline earlier in my life, again, I feel like the fruit of my life would be so much more bountiful because that's time spent aligning. So I read a quote somewhere that says, the longer you spend on the wrong train, the further away you are from the destination. So it's essentially like operating on a warp timeline this entire time, like fighting against life, fighting against the tide of your life, fighting against yourself, in fact, for years and years and years and years, right? Um, so what it's given me to kind of tap into my spiritual timeline is the confidence to know that I'm not crazy, and I don't speak those words loosely because I know mental wellness and mental health and mental issues are a real thing. So I don't use the word crazy in a very irresponsible way, but I genuinely sometimes felt like I think it's almost like I'm losing my mind because what I think I know and what I'm seeing in the world are two different things, and I can't consolidate and I can't explain why I know what I know or why I think I know what I know. So now I know. I'm like, no, I know what I know, and what I think I know, I'm very sure that there's a reason why I think it, and it must be correct. So there's a confidence that comes with aligning that says, I can't explain it. I can't explain the maths. I can't explain the science. Don't go there. I don't trust this man. And be confident with it. Be confident with it to say, I can't tell you why
Yeah.
right now. Maybe it will come to me, but this is a bad idea. And interestingly enough, um, just before I went through, I'm gonna call it my spiritual timeline. I like that one so much. It just feels so, I like it.
I
It's
like it too.
I like it. I like it because I don't like these labels like initiation. Like it feels
Yeah.
so rigorous. Like whoa, oh no, we're just aligning, sweetie. It's not that deep. Um, when before I went through my spirit, or before I aligned with my spiritual timeline, I started working in kind of creative corporate. So like corporate, like getting to corporate spaces essentially
Mhm.
as a creative though, right? And there was this thing that my friends in that space, and it's friends I've kept since I joined that this corporate creative world. They used to say I'm a good judge of character. That is one of the things that has stuck with me for a long time because they made me realize that my ability to tell something is off or not is not by chance, is not like it's a sign of being able or being gifted in a way that says your antenna is on, your network is very clear. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to be able to harness that gift. You need to be able to protect that gift, but you also need to be able to trust it. So I walk around with a lot of confidence, trust, and faith because I know the difference between when I was not, I had self-doubt and I wasn't sure, and I needed to make sure and just, am I doing the right thing? Like now I know and I trust myself more because I know that myself is not made up. Excuse me. Whoa, Makosi. I'll explain to
Right?
you what that means. I'll explain to you what that means. I don't know if you know. If you know, you know. If you don't, anyways, my confidence is made up of the fact that it's not just me in here, in this head, in this body, in this all of the things I'm thinking. Sometimes they're not always my own thoughts. They are messages from a different timeline. It's knowledge, it's books, it's DNA, it's remembering. It's messages from the water, it's messages from the air, it's messages from a different timeline. And I am just a capsule and a medium of all of those things right now. So
Precious.
that's why
I just have goosebumps, right? Right before, I don't know how to explain it, but I understand it. I've been around healers from Southern Africa, and I know like there is, again, English is such a blunt language, but when your ancestors kind of, their presence is made known, um, by via the sound that just happens.
yes, You
Yeah.
got it. I wanted to explain, but I was like, no, I don't want to explain. Those who know. So you got it. And I've got chills. Like I actually got transcended. I went somewhere. I literally, as I'm talking, I just went somewhere. My universe, like I'm in a studio right now, but like I just transcended. Like my world just opened
Whew.
visually because I'm a very visual person. I saw a vast ocean, like the earth just came and rose. So yeah, Mako, see, thank you for being with us, Thokozani. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this conversation,
And it's crazy.
Adele.
When that happened, I had my eyes closed listening to you speaking, and I just said, does she realize that she is actually healing? Like her words are healing. She is aligned with her spiritual timeline because as you're speaking, even for me, it's affirming, it's healing. And when you say trust it, that is where the power is, isn't it? Because of how we're socialized, we don't trust it. And because of
Mm.
the interruption of colonization, we don't trust it. We don't trust it. And ah, that was a moment. Precious.
Yeah, no, I hear you. This conversation is very healing for me as well. Some of the things you're saying, I'm writing down, but some of the things I'm finding myself to say are keeping me accountable to who I say I am and
Mm,
what I say I'm living. I can't come on this, platform, this global, international, spiritual platform and lie. I can't come here and talk about something that's not real. So even in my own life right now, whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm thinking through, whatever I'm working through, I need to make sure that I'm honest to my thoughts and what I say I am and what I say I'm living. I need to
mm,
set myself free from the things that are holding me back from the vastness of my life and who I am.
mm.
So this is healing for both of us.
Right?
And like and I like how you said like if you're a healer, it's about healing yourself. And it's really true that as you heal, as you light your candle and you shine the light, the next person feels the confidence to say, "Oh, I need my candle shoot. Like give me a
Yes.
matchstick right now." So that's the work, and maybe that's all it is, right? Like that's the work of healing. That's the work of heeding the call. That's the work of aligning to your spiritual timeline, which is why I don't like talking about it because I don't have to. I know what I'm going through. I know my journey. And I'm still figuring it out. And I've got so much to figure out. And we've all got things to figure out. But where we meet in public, where we meet outside, when we leave our rooms and our cupboards that we've closed with all these things and the carpets that we've swept nicely under, when we leave those spaces and we go outside and we meet each other, let's meet each other with an openness. Let's meet each other with grace. Let's meet each other with an understanding that, oh, shoot, I left some shit in the cupboard, so I better act right. I better
Mm,
be gentle. I better be gentle because if anybody was to go into my house and open all those things, I'll be so undone. And so, if you're feeling that way, what about the next person? I really wish people lived like that, where you considered that we're all going through things. I've lived things at my house, and so have you. But when we come here to meet each other in the street, in the shop, on social freaking media,
yeah.
let's like, just calm the fuck down a bit. And leave that shit at home. Like we left it at home, right? Keep it there. Don't bring it to me. I don't need to be part of that. Like you sort it out on your own in your own time, but you put that away when we're together because I don't know you, you don't know me. And so let's function from a place of zero, a place of neutral, a place of respect, a place of hello, fellow human. You're probably going through some shit, but for the purpose of this exercise, when you and I meet, let's be professional. Hello, human. You're probably going through some shit, and I'm going through some shit I wish I could tell you about, but I can't tell you. But for the purpose of us meeting here in this shop, let me be courteous. Let me be mannered. It can't be that deep, but you're right. Like this work is healing self so
Mhm.
that you can heal others, essentially. Yeah.
100%. I love that you brought up social media because I think capitalism does this a lot. Anything that pops up, it quickly um, becomes something that you can package and commercialize, right? And so even when you look at spirituality, or if we bring it down to African ancestral work, there are pockets of social media that package it into, a product or make it more marketable. Genuinely, what I'm asking is, what are your thoughts on that if you've seen it happen?
That's a very interesting one. Look, the way I see it, right, is that times have changed. We are living in 2026, we're living in a modern world. And so, as times change, so should practices and industries, right? If we looked at, spiritual healers or doctors or practitioners, messengers, whatever words we would like to yo we would like to call them. If we looked at traditional healers, I'll just say traditional healers, because honestly there's no right way to say this in English. Again, English. I scrutinize you deeply, I judge you deeply for being so vast but so malnourished. If we look at those practitioners, them like engineers, like doctors, like lawyers, like marketing managers have
Mm,
had to move with the times, right? We no longer, for example, in marketing, we were taught when I started marketing like over a decade ago about the 4 P's of marketing. Like, bitch, in 2026, like, what the fucking 4 P's? I mean, yeah, I guess price, blah, blah, product, but like, there's probably like 10 P's now, right? So the,
yes.
the, the industry has shifted and has changed. The timeline has changed, sweetie. We're working in a different format. So
Mm,
for you to function in this modern, current, innovative world that is tech heavy, you have to get on the program. Um,
mm,
so there's a level of, I guess, balance that has to be struck in terms of how, as traditional healers, practitioners, and doctors, you use the platforms and the spaces. How are you using it? For what purposes? There's a lot of benefit in the knowledge that can be
mm,
shared by very knowledgeable, very good, willing, trustworthy, powerful healers that educate us about the African calendar, African timelines, spirituality and your menstrual cycle, spirituality and the seasons, spirituality and food,
mm.
energy and colors, the seasons that we're in. And I speak this with a specific healer in mind. She's got a YouTube channel. I think she's called Nkanyezi. There's benefits in that
Mm,
kind of knowledge being put online. Let's not get it twisted, because a lot of Africans are so lost and they need that awakening and reconnection, but there's no specific university. And these institutions will not house African
yes.
spirituality as a subject, first of all, right? They will not awaken us. Like, what the hell? You want us to get back to the royals that we were before you dethroned us? No, they're not going to do that. So there is so much power in social media and tech being used for the good of awakening, enlightening, assisting, and connecting, with African spirituality. Where I feel uncomfortable, and that's my personal discomfort, I'm not ascribing, subscribing, or suggesting, or even judging. It's my own discomfort, and I acknowledge that and I take responsibility for it. Is almost like a cosplay of spirituality, if I can put it that way, where and I guess it's a feeling, right? And my feelings are valid, but the next person's feelings is also valid, and our feelings may be different about the very same thing. My feeling about seeing some characters or people act in a way that I feel is disingenuous or disrespectful or bastardizing. Oh, the word I'm
Yes.
looking for is bastard. You're kind of bastardizing the integrity of traditional or spiritual practice. We wear beads. There's certain garbs that we wear as healers. So there's beads, fabrics, and cloths that are assigned to your tribe, your ancestors. They have different messages. There's ornaments, if I can put them that way. There's ornaments that, are part of this institution of spiritual alignment and the spiritual pathway and the spiritual timeline practice that I feel like should not be revealed, or that should not be
Mm.
bastardized. Like, if you're doing like a haul from Temu and you bought, your delivery arrives and you're like, okay, guys, let's look what's inside my box. I
Yeah.
just got this the makeup, and it's like some things are really sacred. There's no two ways about it. Some things are sacred, like prayers. Prayers are sacred, guys. Like, I don't care what you tell me. Like, prayers are a sacred thing. They are personal. Messages are sacred. There are some really spiritual things that are sacred, that we shouldn't be publishing or publicizing or cosplaying. And again, it depends case by case. Like I said, like some people, like, they teach you really well and they give you beautiful knowledge and they explain, and they make it make sense and you trust that. But then there's some people that will have their prayer pedestals, or altars. Now we're in your altar. You know what I mean? Like, now the whole world is basically in your altar. All 1 million of us, all 1 million spirits are observing your altar. Like, it's just a strange thing for me, where there are sacred rituals. I remember there was a TV show here in South Africa. I think it was on SABC2. I think it was Mubango or something like that, where they had a spiritual healer and he would throw bones, and we were in his altar, essentially. Like, that was so interesting for me, but it was mind blowing. I'm like, yo, like, this is deep. Like, is this man a real healer? Is he acting? Like, did you guys hire an actor to act like a spiritual healer? Like, so it's stuff like that where you're like, yo, how far do we go in publicizing and commercializing and basically bringing online the offline, right? Because the spiritual alignment is very offline, guys. It's an offline thing. Like, some of the things that we dream and we see and we go through and we experience, they're very personal. So how much of that do we publicize and do we bring forward and do we bring online for all of us to consume? Because hear me out, right? Your ndumba is your altar, your practice, your it's basically your practice, your office, your holy place, your prayer mat. Yonduma is a private place that not anybody can go to. We all know that. Not everybody can go into Yondumba, and you have to take off your shoes. Like, it's a very spiritual place. It has to be treated with respect. There's certain things you can't keep in there. There's certain medicines you can't keep in Yondumba. There's certain people that can't walk in there because of who they are, right? So now tell me why you're on social media and we are all in Yondumba.
Yeah.
Like, did you get me? Like, why are we all in a space that you want people to take shoes off to get into? Like, that mat is not matting.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging anyone. That's my view of it. And that's my perplexity. So if anybody can maybe explain it, and maybe they don't have to, right? Because at the end of the day, people function on their own timelines. Perhaps there are some ancestors that say, listen, we're going to do this online. We're going to call everybody from all over the globe to come visit us. That's, you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's the agreement they have with their ancestors and how they function. Again, it's my discomfort, it's my strangeness, and maybe it's my privacy, because I'm a private person, right? So, and that's why I don't even talk about my journey. Like, I shared a video of my initiation, the other day, because I mean, I'm a content creator, child. My ancestors know who I am. They know who I is. So I had a little video that I shared, of the day of my graduation when I went home and all that. And I was sharing like some of the lessons. I was sharing about a song that I sang and what it meant to me, because I did some research on it and whatever. As I'm going through my social media now, 4 years later, I'm going through a social media reset. I'm like pulling the stuff that I want to show and what I don't want to show. And I pulled those videos off. I pulled them down. I was like, you know what? not everybody has to know yet I'm a Ila. It's okay, you know. That part of me doesn't have to be exposed. If you caught that timeline, you caught it. If you didn't catch it, that's good. But I don't want people going back 4 years back into my content and saying, "Oh, she's a spirit. She's a oh my god."
Mm.
It's no, I don't care. I just want to be me. I just want to live, and I just want my work to permeate where it is required. I want to show up as who I am in whatever capacity I want to show up as, wherever I want without any expectation. And I guess that's the difference, right? My journey is private, my journey is mine, and my journey is my community's. And there's somebody out there in the parallel universe that says, my journey is global, my journey is everybody's, my journey belongs to everybody. Different strokes for different folks.
You reminded me of a conversation I had late last year with a healer from Lesotho. Her name is Mamelo. And I was telling her how I had a dream because I kind of like will ask my ancestors for guidance on specific things or clarity on specific things. And what always happens is I have a dream that makes sense and that is an answer. And I told her, I had this dream and I couldn't figure it out. And I was trying to ask somebody else about it. And then she just told me, why would you do that? Those are your secrets that your people have told you. That's for you. And it was just such a one-liner that made me even approach any sort of messages differently and trust them. And trust, even when I'm confused, that clarity will come and I don't need to like seek clarity elsewhere, and it's kind of very aligned with what you're saying. Precious, as we get closer to winding up, what do you wish more African women knew about spirituality and healing?
That they have a say. They can choose. They can choose. Women are designed. Women are designed. We are. There's specs for us. There is a manual for us. There's even a program. We're programmed. We must come in certain specs. There's a manual for how we should behave and how a woman doesn't do this. A woman doesn't talk that way. A woman doesn't dress that way. A woman doesn't sleep around. A woman doesn't talk loud. A woman must live. A woman must breathe. A woman needs to be left alone. The fuck? We are so tired of like you could actually go crazy if you took all of the woman musts and applied them to your life. People will look at you and you'll be schizophrenic because and my use of the word schizophrenic is very intentful in terms of how spiritual it is for you to assume multiple roles in your life that have nothing to do with you. So for those that are in fact diagnosed with schizophrenia and they struggle and live and cope with the illness, I do not use that word out of disrespect. And if you feel that I have, please do educate me and call me to order, and I will take accountability and responsibility for that. I do not use it to offend you or to speak out of line. The spirituality aspect of following, let's use 5 examples, following 5 different directives on your life that do not come from you will land you in illness. You will mentally uzogula, uzohlanya. You're going to lose your mind because on the one timeline you're supposed to be prim and proper. On the one timeline you're supposed to be fierce and strong. On the one timeline you must be feminine and gentle. On the one timeline you must be able to, you must be brave, you must be a Rambo, you must be Rambo, you must be a warrior. On the one timeline you must be a nurturer, so you must be able to know all the things about medicine, food, clothing, like all those professions must be. You must be a professor of life because that is expected of a woman to nurture. That is 5 timelines. That is 5 timelines, and some of them are different. Some of them bleed into each other. Others are totally different. Being a Rambo and being a sophisticated woman, I've like it's two stock things. How am I a warrior and then a princess at the same time? It's like, what do you want from me? So if we followed all of these 5 to 10 to 15 to 20,000 directives in this manual that is constantly being changed, by the way, it's not a book that was published and put in a library and said, well, this is the decorum of women since 1980s up until infinity. No, it's a book that's constantly being written that doesn't even exist in hardcover or soft copy. It is thumbsucked. It goes with the wind. It changes with trends. It changes with money. It changes with the weather. It changes with the economy. It changes with men's feelings. It changes with the patriarchy when the patriarchy is feeling threatened. So we must live on all of those inconsistent, unstable timelines. We must then assume those unstable timelines upon ourselves, into our lives, into our spirits, into our minds. What is happening in my mind? One day, ladies with red nails are sexually attractive. One day, ladies with white nails are the cutest. One day, bold women, what are brave and fierce. One day, a woman without hair is not a woman. Like, hello, like, tell
Yeah.
me, if I literally spent a year doing every single thing that humanity said a woman must do, would you not think I'm crazy? Would you not look at my social media and say, why is she dressed down? Why is she dressed up? Why is she dressed so dramatic? Why does she have makeup? Why did she cut her hair? Why is her hair back? Why does she have dreadlocks? Why does she have red nails? Like, hello, are you not going to go crazy? Are you not going to go crazy? So, spirituality and living, it's your choice. It is your choice. And the thing about choosing, it's very difficult to make a choice. Like you've heard us struggle with making the right decision or not. The choice you make, you must commit to. Don't flip flop. Don't flip flop. Don't decide I'm going to be a bad bitch and then feel like, I don't want to commit to this. I mean, actually, I'm not saying you're not allowed to change your mind. You're absolutely allowed to change your mind in any circumstance, by the way. Doesn't matter if you've been with someone for 5 to 10 to 15 years. If 20 years later you decide that I don't want to be here anymore, you're allowed to do that. What I mean by the choice is don't doubt it. Don't. There's someone in you that's telling you that this is what we want. This is the direction where we should be going. This is what we're building. This is what we're choosing for ourselves. Don't disrespect that choice. Don't doubt it. Don't ask for a second opinion, because most likely the next person might not really understand truly what you're dealing with in the depths of yourself. And God bless them, right? Because people are always trying to give us the best advice and they want the best for us. But you must remember, the best for us from somebody else's perspective is based on their limitations and limited beliefs and perspectives on life itself. So, in as far as you can get advice, you need to consider how much of it you take and use, and go back inward. Go back inward. You can choose. You really can choose. You're allowed to choose. Choice is your biggest weapon in this world. You can choose to be a walking carpet, or the people that they walk over. You can choose to bend over backwards for the rest of your life and burn yourself out and acquire diseases from burning yourself out, giving from an empty cup. You can choose to be stuck in a timeline that is abusive, toxic, and degrading for you. You can choose to be in spaces where your dreams are constantly being suppressed and your emotions are being suppressed. And again, you make yourself ill in the long run. Or you can choose freedom. You can choose to live the life that you want to live and really do it for yourself. And listen, we're so capable. Women of today, women of today are really, really giving men a run for their money. And I'm not saying it from a sexist place. It's just genuine facts. It's genuine facts. And part of it is we're a result of the patriarchy they built.
Yeah.
We're a result of the patriarchy they built. Now we are too independent for them. What do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? We're here now. We're here now, and you have the capability and the capacity and the conviction. You know, the conviction of women. Have you seen a woman? When a woman says, I'm going to, and she means it, watch that woman do it.
Yeah.
You have a choice. You have a choice. You have a choice.
Oh my goodness, Precious. This is just like goosebumps. And I'm even wondering, because my last, ask of you might even be the answer you've already just given us. But do you have a mannerless message to the woman that's listening?
Don't give a fuck.
Mm.
Don't give a fuck. Because nobody's going to give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Like, don't give a fuck about what anybody says about you. Don't give a fuck about how the decisions you're making to improve your life affect the next person. And remember what I said about functioning in the good, right? I'm not talking about recklessness here. I'm talking about the thing that we struggle with mentally of saying, must I do it, must I not? What are people going to think? Oh, but what about my, oh, what about my, oh, but my children, oh, but my husband, oh, but my colleagues, oh, but, yes, and what about you? What about you? Who's asking what about you? No one. Do you know that? Do you know that nobody's asking what about you? That's the
Mm.
crazy thing. Your list of whatabouts, literally no one is asking what about you. Don't give a fuck. You must limit your fucks. Like it must be like 20% or something, 30%. Like put it on a budget, you know? Like give a fuck on a budget. Because at the end of the day, my friend, you're going to be 6 feet under, and wherever you're going to be, and you're going to look back and say, yo, I was buried with all of those ideas. I was buried with all of those outfits. I was buried with all of those trips I didn't take. I was buried with all of those things I never got to say. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it and accept the impact, right? Not consequences. Accept the impact that comes with that. And you do the maths, right? What is the impact of this action? What is the impact of the decision? But if you're making that decision from a place of lack and fear of what if, what the next person's gonna do, don't give a fuck, bro. People don't give a fuck. Have you seen how selfish people are in this world? And they're selfish for bad things. You have to be selfish for the good thing. Girl, you just want to go on a trip. It's not that deep. You just want to move to another city. It's not that deep. You just want to change your hair, girl. Like, what harm are you going to do by changing your hair? Tell me. What catastrophe is going to come from that? What catastrophe is going to come from you changing your looks because that's how you feel, but you're too scared of what catastrophe is that going to do to the world? People are literally at war out there. That's what's happening in the world. So what you're holding yourself back from is small waters. Literally. Don't give a fuck. Do it. Just do it.
Listen, I can't be the only one who got goosebumps from that conversation. When I was having it with Precious, I was just like, this is exactly what you need to hear as well. Like, it was such a wonderful reminder from Precious that healing is personal, spirituality is about choice. And self trust, that part is a muscle we must build over time, right? And, even when we were talking about ancestral guidance, I truly believe in that. And the freedom that comes when you stop living by everybody else's rules and you start making your own damn rules. Now, if you would love to connect with Precious, which I really highly suggest you do, and you want to follow her work, you'll find all her links in the show notes. And if there's one thing to take away from this episode, it's that you are allowed to choose yourself. Make sure you share this episode with all the mannerless or almost mannerless women in your life. And next week, we're headed to Nigeria for another powerful conversation with a woman who you may have seen across your screens on Instagram, on TikTok. She's a global icon. I'll catch you in the next one.